Hello, Gemini. Great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Gemini. This spread for you for the reading for this month. What I saw was I see these two teenagers. The man is giving the woman a flower. And they're both like clearly, it's like the beginning stages of a brand new love. And he's giving this teenager a flower. And then there are thought bubbles going through his head. And you see the thought bubbles. And it shows him much older, probably like in his 60s or 70s. And then the same woman next to him. So what that denotes to me is that I feel like, when you want to go ahead with something, once you have made up your mind and once you are sure that you want to proceed with a specific course of action, you're in it for keeps. So I feel like, Geminis often get a bad rep as being fickle, as being kind of like that social butterfly, or even being someone who's not dependable. But I feel like that runs counter to the way that you actually think and to the way in which you actually execute plans, okay? So you guys are very, very idealistic and in a way hopeless romantics. And I feel as if once you have a lot of choices that are in front of you, you might be inundated with those choices and you don't act. And people might feel like you're wishy-washy. But I feel that the life of a Gemini person is you're out looking for the best optimal outcome. Because you're very idealistic, because you're very, very, just hopelessly romantic. You think very carefully before you make a decision, and you project and overthink and overanalyze, and you project into the future. If I go with this specific course of action, what is my life going to look like? And as a result of that, you don't make these decisions lightly, okay? And so when you make an offer to a specific person, when you give your 100% to a job, when you accept a job offer, when you tell somebody, okay, I'm going to do this with you, or, we're in it together, or, let's get this done, you mean it and you do keep your word. And I also feel as if for many of you, you keep your word to the extent that if everybody in the situation, in that relationship, or in that work environment, or in that social interaction, if everyone keeps their word, if everyone keeps things light, and if everyone does their part, then there shouldn't be any problem. You shouldn't anticipate problems, right? So the image of this teenage boy giving this flower, making a gesture towards this teenage girl, I feel as if it's the start of something that is really hopeful, that has a lot of promise. And it's something you have really carefully weighed out the options. Like, should I or shouldn't I? Is this somebody that's going to be with me for the long haul? Because you are looking for long term. You are looking for something stable, something dependable, and something that is that's going to be around even into your old age, okay? So you don't make decisions lightly. And I feel like whenever a Gemini doesn't commit, it's mainly because they don't see the full longevity or the sustaining power of a situation, and that's why they don't really commit. And that's why they can appear to be a little bit more aloof, a little bit more like one foot out the door. But I feel like innately, you guys understand that everything takes a lot of responsibility. In order to make something work, we have to constantly work at it. And it can feel like it sucks the fun out of a situation when it requires a lot of work. And as a result of that, I'm sensing that's why some of you might have shied away from situations, from getting involved in situations, getting involved with specific people, moving forward, mainly because you understand that it's a lot of responsibility, and if your heart is not 100% in it because you feel like the situation is not bringing you enough stability, that's when this, the twin side comes out, and you oscillate between making the decision, and that's when you become indecisive, and that's when people see you as flighty. The other image that I saw too, and that's funny, this came out because I did see a hobo on a train, okay? It's a moving train, and I feel like it's not so much in the continental US. It seems like it's some foreign country, like a European city. That's what it feels like to me. And there's this train going through like a pastoral, a more agrarian landscape. Okay, and these are like freight trains. And there's this man. He's a hobo, and he's jumping from trains to trains. He's trying to find his next location. He's got that little bundle of all of his possessions. Okay, all of his possessions are bundled up in a little sack, and he's carrying that with him. And I feel like this year, and especially the month of the baggage, and I do feel shedding baggage with getting rid of people in your life that might have been sucking your energy, that might not have been good for you to be around, and ways of doing too in the past, not taking opportunities, not being quick enough, not being decisive enough on opportunities. And then as a result of it, I just feel like you're looking for a little bit of a brand new adventure. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of that energy across the entire spectrum of the zodiac, because I feel like the month of short. Okay, we only had 28 days, but I feel like every day brought about events, situations coming to light, um, a lot of unearthing, a lot of digging, a lot of investigations, and just the energy was very, very, very tense. And it feels like all the unearthing was condensed into the entire issuing ultimatums, issuing, very, very definitive, like yes and no's. And I also you're learning how important it is to be very, very decisive. You're learning how important it is to make a resolution and really, really sticking to it. Because I do feel for many of you, like back in that mid-month reading, choices were being stripped away. Choices were removed from the table. Things that we thought might have been, plan B, plan C, plan D, those choices get taken away from us. And so we have to, really look at the consequences of our actions. And we really have to like value everything that was on the table, and to really analyze situations in a way where always going to be there. And we definitely can't assume that we can rely on other people. Okay. So I feel like it was a major, major wake up call across the board for a lot of the signs. And it was just a very, very intense month where truths come to light, information gets revealed, and I almost feel like the end brand new energy that is on the table for you. Okay, this is really, really beautiful. The Fool signals a clean page, a brand new journey. Heading into the unknown and having basically traveling light because you have shed a lot of baggage. This came about after a very long period where you felt like you were in the public eye, you were under scrutiny, you were like being judged, you were being put, I almost feel like, put in the limelight. And you had to explain yourself. You had to account for what you were doing. You had to I'm seeing like, it's almost like that Salem witch trial, okay? Being burned at the stake, but not literally. It's just like Here are the things that I did, and here are the justifications for why I did those things. Here are the dates that they happen, and here are the justifications for why they happen on that date and not a particular date. So I feel like many of you have gone through some type of a grueling or a grilling process. You might be doing this to another person, like asking them, digging for information, or somebody might be doing this to you, asking them, digging for information from them or from you. And I feel like, it's a major unearthing process. Okay. So the energy was very, very tense. Decisions again. If you have felt that decisions were made, and you were just kind of like stuck in the middle of it, decisions were made in your environment, and you felt that loss of control, I feel like this is the month where you start to get back or regain your sense of composure and regain your control. You show up here as the magician. And the thing about the magician, especially in this deck, is this is all indicative of sleight of hands. Okay? This is all about revealing certain things, but holding back on certain things. So I don't want to say this phrase, but I feel like that's what it boils down to, lying by omission, withholding the truth or giving half truths. And I feel like you're doing this mainly because you're keeping your cards close to your chest. You're possibly trying to protect something, or you are drawing attention away from a specific area, and you're trying to get the people to focus on another area. And the way that I'm seeing this is, I feel like many of you have a bird's eye view of a situation. We have here the Two of Wands. This is what I call like the ivory tower, okay? The birds are flying above him. He's got like a bird's eye view of the situation. He sees the situation in its totality. He knows the pitfalls. He understands. And so it's almost like oftentimes when you know so much, when you can project so far into the future that okay, if I were to take, or if we were to take plan A, here are some of the pitfalls that we'll have to encounter or overcome further down the line. And then if we make, plan B, here is what's going to happen. So you're in a position where I feel like you know too much, and some of the information that you're privy to, you can't really disclose it. People might be telling you secrets, or people might give you a lot of information. And I feel like some of the information might be confidential. And so you're acting and making decisions from a place of full disclosure, full knowledge. And the people that are around you that you're trying to convince, you're trying to show them the merits of what you're doing and why you do the things that you do, they don't have the full information, and you can't share with them the full information. And so you have to find a way to kind of work around this situation and to show them and convince them on the best course of action without revealing too much. I see many of you are in a position where you are either possibly taking the blame for somebody, or defending somebody, protecting somebody, and not revealing all the information that might make this person suffer the wrath of, the crowd, okay? So I definitely see this energy here about withholding information because you want to protect somebody. Withholding information, or even, this whole concept about a red herring, distracting and drawing the crowd and drawing the herd and drawing attention to this big situation, because the other things are there and people are questioning the wrong things or focus on the wrong thing. So you're trying to divert attention away from things that don't matter and bringing that attention to things that you feel there might be more at stake. There might be more at stake, okay? I do see you coming in to diffuse a situation, and I definitely see you in a position where you are harboring somebody, aiding somebody, and protecting somebody that you feel, this little monkey here, somebody that you feel behaved in a foolish manner, in a reckless manner, in an irresponsible manner. They didn't mean it, they didn't know better, and so let's not judge, let's not punish them harshly, because all of their mistakes or all the things that they did came from a place of innocence. So I definitely feel like you're doing a lot of legwork here, trying to protect another person, okay? Um, I feel like somebody is really reaching out, trying to help you. If you are in this hangman position where you feel like your hands are tied, that you're not able to get things moving, gain traction, gain momentum in a project, in a situation, to even persuade people, or even communicate with people. So if there has been like some type of a conflictual situation in your life, and you're either dealing with people who are very fixed and very rigid, or you are so convinced on a specific course of action that you might be a little bit more like, this is the way that it has to be. I feel like there's somebody coming in showing you a different way, okay? This is usually, we have here the Page of Wands, and I feel like this is a person coming in. It's almost like they're coming in at a very opportune moment. It's almost like that last split second they come in and they give you some insights, they give you some information that will change the trajectory of how things are being conveyed, that will allow more understanding, more communication to come into the picture. You're dealing with a lot of younger people, but the youth also denotes to me the innocence, okay? They're not plagued with your sense of overthinking, overanalyzing, looking so far ahead into a specific course of action. When we do that, we see so many pitfalls, and then it makes us kind of scared to make a decision. It makes us scared to act. It makes us scared to choose a specific course of action. This youthful, innocent energy that's coming through for you, I feel like they have a different vantage point. It's very ground level. It's very practical, okay? Whereas you have the bird's eye view, more of the higher chakra, overthinking, overanalyzing. This person is on the ground level. They're the foot soldier. They're the ones that see how things are being played out on the ground. They're seeing things physically. And I feel like they're telling you, or they're showing you, or giving you a different vantage point, a different perspective. And I feel like this is a perspective you might not have considered. And I'm seeing fire energy, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And with fire energies, fire signs are very, very, some might say impulsive, but I would say they're very, very direct and very blunt, okay? And fire signs are, in a way, when they see a problem, they dive right in and they fix it, okay? They don't sit there and think about like, well, is this a solution that's going to be viable 10 years from now? Is it a long-term sustainable solution? They don't care about that stuff. They care about, what can I do to alleviate the situation right now? They care about what's immediately in front of them. We're not talking about a 5-year plan. We're talking about like a 5-day plan. And I feel like this is a really, really, really kind person. I just can't. They're really, really kind. Okay, this is a card about generosity. This is a card as well about, helping people who are in dire straits, helping others, and we don't need to expect anything in return. So like loving and giving and being generous without strings attached. That's the way fire signs work. They think about, what can I do in this specific moment in time to alleviate a situation? And I feel like the innocent and pure and direct way in which they behave, despite their biological age, despite their lack of, life experience. And I feel like this is a person, they've been on the ground, they've rolled in the trenches, so they know that, life is rough. It's not like they're idealistic. You guys, I feel like, are very idealistic. You're thinking more about theories. This person is thinking more about practice. And I feel like they're bringing a message that's very, very urgent about, they're bringing to you a message that is very urgent about needs, about generosity, about the need to, help out a situation. A need, I'm seeing like humanitarian needs, okay? So what really, really stirs a Gemini's heart, and Gemini people love animals, love children. You love that innocence because you guys are perpetually, you're like the little sprite, the Peter Pan of the zodiac. You believe in magic, you believe in innocence, you believe in all these ideals. And I feel like for many of you, you go through life and we all get battered by life. Some of us become jaded, others of us still maintain our innocence. And I feel like you might be at that tipping point. Like so many bad people out there, so many bad things have happened, and it's made you a little bit rough around the edges. It's made you develop thicker skin, and you're kind of like straddling that fine line between becoming jaded or still maintaining your innocence. Some of you could feel a little bit jaded, and I feel like there's somebody coming into the picture. Not that they're idealistic, but they do what they feel needs to be done. They do what is right, and their sense of justice and morality, and just this carefree attitude. Okay, heading straight into the volcano because there's probably distressed people out there that I can help. Okay, heading straight into a situation because I'm curious what it's going to look like. So their sense of adventure, their sense of right and wrong to you. And I feel like this person is bringing so much of a perspective to you that you hadn't considered. And in a way, they're pulling you away from this sense of jadedness. And they're telling you, you don't need to get jaded over this. These situations that you have dealt with in the past, that has created those frown lines, that has racked you with anxieties and a lot of worry, and that makes you isolate yourself from the world because you feel like you can't trust people, or you feel like people are all a certain way. I feel like this person is showing you that life doesn't have to be like that. You just need to keep better company. You just need to keep better company. You need to keep the company of the people that are more in alignment with you. You need to be careful about who you let into your life, and you need to make sure they are of the higher vibrational, energies, so that they don't suck you dry, so that they don't take advantage of you, so that they don't constantly make these foolish mistakes and need you to come in to correct the situation or need you to protect them. It's like hiding behind mommy's skirt because we can't clean up our own mess, okay? So I feel like they're telling you, pick better people to be around, pick better situations to put yourself in. You don't have to get jaded over things. You learn from things and you move on. So there's a lot to be said here about forging a new path for yourself. Definitely, I'm seeing that you're seeing the value in a person that you might not have seen before. I'm also seeing a very intense sense of longing between you and another person. It flows mutually because with the Six of Pentacles, it's a card about reciprocity. It flows both ways, okay? It's reciprocity. This is long distance relationship, usually for me, Two of Wands. And then the Fool. Somebody might have left the picture or has gone a different way, has gone a different route, and there's a sense of longing. There's a sense of, I'm stuck where I am right now. I'm afraid to move forward with this person. I'm afraid by being reckless, by following this person, I might be ostracized. I might be burned at the stake. I might be under a lot of scrutiny. But I feel like, that hobo on the train. You want something new. You want to travel light. You want to just leave your past behind you and start over in a foreign land, in a new environment. You see the merit in starting over, and you see the merit in moving forward with a new situation, okay? I'm going to pull out a few more cards because we have a person here as well in the last 4 cards, and I'm trying to see what I can pick up. So, who is this water sign? Okay, so let me talk about this water sign. I have here the Queen of Cups, and this is Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. This is a really kind person as well, okay? You've got some really good people in your environment, like really good-hearted, honest, straight-laced, moral, just amazingly generous people. So this is somebody that is that you're giving a lot of your energy to. Okay, so he's leaning more towards this side, and she's on this side. So this could be male or female, but there's a lot of attention, a lot of nurturing, a lot of sustenance being given to this water sign. For some of you, you might be in a marriage, committed relationship, the Hierophant here with this water sign. You might have built a lot of resources together. You might have children together. The Ten of Pentacles is generational wealth. The two of you might have created like a dynasty together. It's like a power couple type of a dynamics. A lot of resources, a lot of stability, a lot of things built up. Commonalities, common goals, common grounds, two people who are very, very successful. I see you as being very successful here with the Magician. And I usually think with the Magician, it's somebody with like higher education. You guys are really, really intelligent. And usually with a lot of air signs, they love school. They love an environment that's more theoretical, that's more like intellectually stimulating. So they would, pursue the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, the law degree, the PhD. Like they go the whole 9 yards when it comes to their education. So I feel many of you have advanced degrees. And they themselves have advanced degrees. So I see an environment where two people, you might have a different life path. They might have a different career path, for example. But I feel like there is this sense of both parties being very, very, very accomplished. Okay, so there's a power couple dynamics here. I feel like you might have more of a humanitarian streak. You might want to go where the wounded are. You might want to go where you're needed, where there's a need for your skills and your services. The other person might be a little bit more stabilized. They might be a little bit more of a homebody. They might be a little bit more grounded in their current location. And I feel like as a couple, two people might want to live in different places, and that's kind of creating a little bit of a disruption, or it's throwing a wrench in the works. It's throwing the wrench in the works in a situation. So that's what I'm feeling. And I'm also feeling they might be homesick. Somebody might be feeling homesick, okay? Like if they moved with you to where you are, they might be feeling homesick and they might want to return to like wherever they grew up. Or if you move to be where they are, you might be feeling homesick and you might want to return to your origin, or you might be lusting after a new situation, a new environment, a new city, a new job, a new, just something that really stirs your passion. So I definitely feel like a situation where somebody's homesick, somebody wants something new. Not a new relationship, but I feel like, homesickness, wanting to return to the roots. So that's what I'm feeling here. And I feel like this water sign, the dynamics between you and this person, their energy is very loving. They're not super adventurous. They're not super adventurous. They kind of like nibble at life a little bit. They test the waters. They stick their toes in to see how cold it is. But I feel like, they're not ones to like dive right in to a situation, get their hands dirty, roll up their sleeves and do things. Whereas I feel like Geminis, you guys are very much, very spontaneous. Let's jump right in. Let's head towards this volcano. And so you're still going through this phase where you are thirsting after adventure. And then this person is a little bit more stability oriented. I don't see problems so much. I don't see that at all. And I feel like you're accommodating a lot with this person, to this person. You're accommodating them and you're giving a lot of time and energy. And I also feel like, I don't know if there's resentment, or I don't know if there's just like this sense within you about, opportunity cost. Like, I've given a lot to this relationship. And I thought it was the right thing to do because we were in it together. But now I feel like, life has passed me by. Missed opportunities has passed me by. I was on the sidelines nibbling at life, and I let a lot of good things or good opportunities or, just opportunities like slipping by. And the thing about opportunity cost, it's like that we only know the life that we have chosen. We don't know how an alternative, like in an alternate reality, if we had taken a different path, what our life would look like. We don't know those things. And because we don't know, and because you guys are an air sign, you need to know. The unknown is always, always, always more enticing because it's a mystery to you guys. So that's where I want you to understand, that's the attraction, that's the pull. You're being drawn and pulled towards the unknown, the route that you didn't take. And it's always in the back of your mind. But because we live in this physical world and we are only aware of the series of decisions that we make to get us to this present moment, and if the present moment is less than what we idealistically expected. When we were kids, like that little teenage boy giving the teenage girls that flower. When he gave her his flower, when he gave her his heart, when he made those promises, he thinks, oh, we're gonna grow old together. Whether or not that's the case, whether or not, life, reality, or choices and decisions, and life just catches up to us, and things become more complicated. I feel things are complicated, but I definitely feel like you're yearning for a life that is a little bit more simplistic, like that hobo on the train, all his possessions in one bag, hopping from one boxcar to the next, and not having a care in the world, and flying from one city to the next, one adventure to the next, one life to the next, and getting to experience, Many, many, many different lives, getting to experience many different situations. I feel like you're drawn to that and you're wondering if there's room in your life to allow those opportunities to come in again. Can you make room? Can you, rearrange the furniture, move some things around in order to make the space and make the room for these missed opportunities to come back? If you reserve the space for it, it will come back. If you really, really want it and you actively put your energy out there, it will come back. So what exactly does that mean? It basically means realizing what's really important to us, prioritizing those things. If many of you have, wanted to travel, like wanted to work and travel overseas, and you're just like, oh, I have the wife, the kids, the mortgage, or the husband, the kids and the mortgage, or I have this really, really cushy, stable job, and people need me. I'm very visible, and I've made it. I've climbed the corporate ladder. There are other ways that you can do it. You can do, volunteerism. You can take time out of your busy schedule to, plan a vacation where you can do some meaningful work. It requires rearranging things that might have been sedentary in your life. Rearrange them, clear some space, declutter in order to create the life that we want, okay? It doesn't happen overnight. It requires a lot more planning. The more things we have in our possessions, the more things that we have weighing us down, the more clearing we have to do so that those things don't run our lives. And the longer we have them, the more sedentary and heavy they are. So you have some decluttering, I feel, that you have to do in order for you to make room for the things that you want. And what I'm feeling here is there's a great need here to be very, very, very patient with family members, okay? I know this video is running so long, but I'm sensing that many of you might need to hear these things. Being very patient with family members. This is sort of like, yes, there are things that we can always say, okay? Like there are things that we can say. Should we say them? Probably not, okay? Holding back our tongue, being a lot less critical, being more loving, more understanding. And I feel like that's what's happening here. There's somebody in your life, possibly this water sign, who is teaching you a lot about compassion. Not that you're not compassionate people, you guys are. But you guys don't talk about, for example, and this is like, I've seen this with so many Geminis. You can go to the SPCA website and you look at the abandoned, animals, and it makes you want to cry. But you don't sit there and say like, oh, this is so sad. I wish I could do something about this. I feel like you internalize it. It goes through your mind that, yeah, this is really sad. I wish I could donate. I wish I could, volunteer. I wish there's something I could do. I wish that people aren't so horrible to all these animals. I feel like, you feel it on a very core, heartfelt level. You don't just sit there and talk about it and you don't cry over it, but you do feel it. And this person, this water sign in your life is kind of like opening up that heart chakra. They want you to talk about these things. What are you feeling? They don't want you to keep everything in. It's not healthy for us to keep everything in. Okay, so I feel like they're here to teach you a lot about verbalizing, expressing these things, these needs. I'm also sensing, Gemini, that a lot of the times you might not know what you want because you might suppress things, okay? And so it's really important for us to look at a situation, especially a situation that stirs some type of an emotional response within us. So for example, if you're looking at wounded animals, right? And it makes you angry because you're probably wondering like, why are people so horrible? Or it makes you feel really sad because you empathize so strongly with the pain these animals are going through. And so you have a mixed bag of emotions. And so I feel like you have to verbalize it. I'm angry because it makes me, not believe in human kindness. And I'm angry because it's so unfair. I'm angry that these animals are suffering. Going through the process and really expressing what your heart is feeling will allow you to be a little bit more grounded, okay? So taking this energy away from this, crown chakra and planting it in the ground and telling yourself and not fearing when these emotions, uncomfortable emotions or really strong emotions wash over you. This is sort of like taking that, checking the water, testing the water before you plunge in, okay? It's safe for you to do that. Okay, it's safe for you to do that. Test out the emotional waters. And I feel like the presence of this person in your life is really helping you find the voice to really verbalize what you're feeling. Find the voice to be okay with that emotional expression is what I'm sensing. So they're saying as well, be really, really kind to your family members. I feel like there might have been a lot of family expectations or even like your expectations about family members. You should have been like this type of a mom to me. You should have been this type of a daughter towards me. You should have been this type of a dad. You should have done this. I should have done that. Like regrets. Things that are not talked about as well. Because I feel like, life was not a bed of roses for many of you. And parents had to do whatever they needed to do in order to make ends meet, in order to take care of the physical things, in order to put a roof over your head, food on the table. And a lot of the emotional expression, the warmth might have been missing. And so, be kinder